Hello. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to see you here. So, um, if you're familiar with these sessions, that this is really about exploring your body as a portal to a deeper consciousness. Um, we're all searching, aren't we? We're all searching for this feeling of ease, freedom, this search for happiness in inverted commas, and it's we're always looking, but yet we seem to get stuck in similar patterns, and things are recurring, and I really like these sessions, or doing these sessions, so they're open to everybody, so we can explore, okay, so what are we being asked to look at, and what is it that we can change at a deep level. And
Yeah.
and it's not about the physical, this work. Obviously, you know who I am, and it's not, and
I
that's not
love your
to.
work.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank
Really
you.
do.
And it's not to dismiss the physical at all, as in, and it's not to dismiss what we need to do physically as well to change and to heal. But it
Yeah.
just always feels to me like it's a very a part of the healing process that's not always addressed that well. We can look at the nervous system, most definitely, but
Yeah.
looking at the patterns that we have got embedded and imprinted in us, and learning to change what's happening up here with our thoughts is so liberating, and really does
Mm.
affect not only your body, but also your relationships, your environment, how you work in the world, and how you sit in the world. And it is like a process of awakening, really. The more I've done this work, the more it is spiritual at such a deep level, as well as physical, because I don't think we can separate those two aspects of our human life. Anyway, I
Mm.
am I am babbling on. But this is a time for you to ask anything that you want to ask, and we can explore it. So, has anybody got a question or something that's sitting inside of them that's wanting to bubble up? Angela, is
Huh?
that you nodding first one?
Ah, hi,
Okay. Well,
it's
sorry.
lovely to see you.
Sorry, say that again.
I said it's lovely to see you.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
It's
It's
okay.
lovely to see you too.
It's midnight and I'm in New Zealand, so
Wow. Oh, well, thank you for staying up so late.
it's okay. It's a pleasure. Um, I'm not really sure how much to share, but I guess I have a conundrum. So I work with clients a lot with the body, and now I'm in my own process. And a couple of years ago, I became really, really unwell, and I've had a lot of illnesses. But something I'm really fascinated by is I currently have bilateral tendonitis in both Achilles. And it's got to the point that I can't walk, I can't move, and sometimes I can't stand. And there's so many possibilities around what could be causing this emotionally and
Yeah.
physiologically that I'm kind of at a loss. So here I am at midnight talking to you.
And exploring this. Okay, so you've obviously done some exploration here and have some sense of what might be happening. And of course, when we're looking at things like this that are preventing us moving forward, there's the bigger question there is, where or what do I want to walk into and move into in life? Um, and what's holding me back? So does that idea resonate, or is that something you've explored yourself?
Yeah, a little bit. I've
Okay.
explored it a little bit, and I definitely can feel a double bind around it. I can definitely feel fear around moving forward and fear around staying still and an inability to go back to the way things were. So it's like being stuck right in a spot and not being able to move in any direction.
Yeah. And so if you're willing to share, what does moving forward look like for you?
Um, I suspect it is growing my practice, and that would involve more visibility
Yeah.
and some changes on the inside around how I show up and how much confidence I have.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's that sounds like the very common sort of conflict that people come come
Mm,
into when there's this pull from the inside to stretch out, to be more, to have more influence, to really reach people and touch people.
mm,
And then you're coming straight into conflict with a part of you that is so scared to do that.
mm.
Are you aware of that part of you that is scared to do that? And do you know where that part of you comes from?
I've done pieces of work around it,
Uh-huh.
but without a resolution. And so that makes me wonder if I quite haven't quite nailed it. um,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay, well, this I don't want to take you too deep
yeah, yeah,
and in this session because obviously we're very open here and open to being seen,
yeah.
which is
I
interesting.
exactly.
So, and I really love that you've come and asked the question because these questions about being seen um, are, are so deep, and yet here you are on this recording that will be
Mm.
out there as well. So amazing. Um,
And it might not be that, it might be something completely different, but
yeah.
that was
Well,
what was going on when it kind of showed up. That and a lack of support.
yes. Okay. Because yeah, there are usually several aspects to this, and there are several layers. But if you were to grow your business and be more visible in whatever way that means to you, whether it's being out there in terms of social media, more like advertising yourself, or what what comes up for you when you
Fear,
think about being that person?
fear. Yeah.
Okay, and what's what are you scared will happen?
Um, I suspect it is unreasonable criticism.
Yeah, and judgment, criticism.
Yeah, yeah,
And that has been part of your life so far, has it?
a lot
Right.
of it. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So there's an inner process here about detaching almost from the words that come in from the outside, because inside of you, you know that it's not true, but there's still a big part of you that reacts and is fearful of that criticism, that judgment, that that thing that makes you feel smaller. And maybe I shouldn't do that anyway. So this is really about shifting a belief that is deep inside of you, and you can't do it overnight. This is not the sort of thing you can do overnight. Um, there are steps. There are like small steps. The first understanding there is listening to the thoughts that come up and being aware of what happens, because you're probably aware that there's a pattern. Like you have the thought, you feel enthusiastic, you think, yes, I'm going to do this. And then something happens in between that and actually it being more out there or being actually in the physical world. So you've got this thing going on in here and it can't reach the outside.
Mm, very much.
Yeah. And sometimes it's easier, obviously, when you're in that moment. But right now, as you think of those times that you have wanted to do something and be out there and then felt unable to, what sort of thoughts come into your mind? Are you aware of the voice that then speaks to you?
Um, yes, it's quite hard to share on here,
Okay.
but I'm willing. Three times I have been at a precipice of change and growth,
Yeah.
and three times I've ended in hospital with deadly illness. So
Okay.
it's manifesting as something real big. It's not just little. It actually shows up as something quite significant, and that just feels a bit crazy. Like, and that's why there's so much fear now. It's like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
yeah, it's some big stuff's
I
happened.
mean, I really recognize that in myself as well. Some dramatic things have come about when I have either tried to change or when I have actually made the move to change. And it always seems quite dramatic and illness related rather than just something quite mild or so I resonate. So the way I view that, and you may already be aware of this, but is that there's a part of you that is so strong and uses that illness to manifest the support that is required or that or that is lacking at that point. Um, it's a pattern in the same way as I had the pattern. It not conscious, but something that has been created inside of you because of the way you were brought up and because of everything that happened to you as a child. And sometimes it's like that body speaking for you rather than the voice speaking for you. So what that tells me is that it needs to be different the next time you're on the precipice. The moving forward needs needs to be in a different way.
Okay.
So as I don't know if you can share a little bit about what it's like to be on the precipice. You know, what's the thing that you're about to do? What's the next move for you? And then suddenly it all pulls back from that.
Usually I have quite a significant influx of new clients and all at the same time, and then something significant will happen that will mean that I can't meet my commitments or can't pursue it. So it's keeping me pretty small and pretty contained.
Interesting. When the clients come in or start booking, how does that feel?
It's both um, great because it's what I need to do, but it also can feel scary. Just because I have been unwell, it's like, will I have the capacity to be able to meet this person's needs or the obligations that that sets up?
Yeah, okay. So have you experienced this, so you've also had these times when you've been on the precipice and then been very ill. Um, but have you noticed that in your life as well, that when there's something around success? So there has been times that you've witnessed this where people have been successful and then something bad's happened?
You mean inside my own life or
Well, maybe, or
and people around me?
what you've witnessed within your family experience, or
Yeah,
okay,
it's not a pattern that I've really come up against before, and that's why it's been really confusing, is it's only showing up in this area, and
yeah,
it's quite new. It's quite a new experience for me. It feels like because it's so new, it feels like it's tied to authenticity and authentic expression because I have had a previous career that I was absolutely fine in. And
so
um,
this is a new
so
career, yeah,
yeah, and it's far more personal and far more um, tied to who I am as a person and the vulnerable parts of me, and much more heart led. So it's been a really different experience than my previous job.
okay, and yeah, so that makes sense that there's your authentic voice, and it's literally being pulled. You're being pulled back, and your Achilles, and any other tightness that's coming up at the back, up the back, would really say to me, we're pulling back. We're we're holding. There's no flexibility there. So often when things like this happen, we're looking at stuff as it's either this or that. I can either go forward or I can't. A, like this real strong duality.
Mm.
And sometimes the issue for our inner part that's so frightened of being out there and vulnerable is that it feels like I am going to be exposed all at once. Whereas there's a potential here, because what if we looked at this more as information and not so personally? Now, what I mean by that is you see the clients coming in, that's information. People are booking. What are they asking for? They're asking for a bit more of you. People want more of me. More people want me. And when I say those words, how does that feel?
It feels both good and bad.
Okay. There's the
Yeah,
conflict.
yeah.
So there's the conflict. The part of you that feels bad is saying what?
I don't know if I have enough to give.
Okay. And as you hear those words, I don't know if I have enough to give. Does it feel true to you?
Um, it does not feel true from a wider lens, but
Mm.
it does feel true from where I currently stand energetically. Like I'm
Yeah.
still recovering. So
Okay.
um yeah.
So, yes, that makes complete sense. So, that part of you saying, I don't have enough to give right now at this point.
Mm,
But the wider part of you is saying, yes, I do. And I do want this. And I feel the pull to do that.
yeah.
So, what if you look at that part that says, oh, I don't have enough to give? And instead of forcing it or pushing it, you just say, I'm really sorry that you're exhausted. And I'm really sorry you're scared. And we just you just shift that into that being gentle with that side of you. And when I say that it's to you, you know, when you hear that, I'm so sorry you haven't got enough to give right now. What happens inside of you?
I feel a softening
Mm,
and and some tenderness. And I also get in touch immediately with the part of me that overrides this, that just
right.
pushes through anyway.
Yeah.
And um, I suspect like there's a part of maybe the ankles, the tendons that are preventing me from doing that. Like
Yeah.
it's another aspect of like I just override and push through because that's been what I've always done, and I just can't this time.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a sidestep, but that's sort of what comes up. It's like I feel tender and I'm like, oh yeah, I should be in this place. Of course I the parts of me that need to recover, need support and to not be bullied into something different. And
Yeah.
then I also feel the part of me that just tries to override it. So
But you also know that that doesn't work
totally.
for you now.
No, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And this is about growing that resilience, I suppose, from especially from what's coming in from the outside or hearing particular voices speak to you. Um, it's a gentle, gentle approach. The same for your ankles and Achilles. And if you were working with anyone else, you would be gentle and tender
Totally.
and soft. But for ourselves, we feel, you know, that seems to not apply. So all I'm suggesting is you notice that difference between how you look at someone else and how you
Mm,
look at yourself. And now you have that awareness anyway. Use the softness and practice that, saying it's okay. It's okay to be exactly where I am now. It's okay not to move forward. It's okay to move forward as if you were, you know, you're really reparenting that part of you that is going, but I have to go forward. And you know, as a parent, you would go, you don't have to do anything. But keep
yeah.
in mind with all of that, that the information that is coming in is that people, others, do want you, do want to hear from you. They do want to connect with you.
Mm,
And bring that into your belief system
okay.
if you can, because that's the evidence that you've got that you're valued.
Mm,
And that's the
yeah.
evidence you've got that people want you and your authentic self to be there. And so it's absorbing that belief in for yourself. I am valued. And as you become more embodied with those thoughts, then the bullying that's coming from outside, that your word, that's coming from outside will start to shift because you will start to find that strength in your center. We always tend to push when we're frightened and scared. I've done it as well, so I recognize it. I completely. We're trying to override something that is a very, very strong belief, but we can't override it with action. because that's where we end up in hospital. What we have to do is the same as we would do with an injured child or a traumatized child and take it really slowly and apply gentleness.
Mm.
And it takes some time. And I really invite you, and you may be doing this already, to find some stillness. And even if you can't find stillness in your mind, you use some form of mantra that I am doing the best I can.
Okay.
People do want me. People do want me. Rather than I can do this and I will do, like a coach or a goal driven type thing. Rather than being goal driven, let's be more present and more gentle because pushing is always about the future.
I really hear what you're saying. It's my interpretation is try and drop the agenda and just bring more presence and compassion to the experience I'm having rather
You
than
said that beautifully, yeah.
trying to go full force ahead and override it with action.
Exactly.
It's really hard when you want to take action, but
It
I hear what
is.
you're saying,
When you're
and
action
it's like
driven, it is really hard. So it has to be the thing that feels the most uncomfortable is the thing that we always need to do. So whether that's sitting still, whether that's being compassionate to ourselves, they're
yeah,
always the hard things that unless we have to be so uncomfortable that that becomes the only way forward, if that makes sense.
I think so. I think so. I think it's the only thing so far that I haven't tried is to like I haven't tried it physically and I haven't tried it energetically and metaphorically, which is get off my feet and just rest. It's like I've been just trying every which way to manipulate it and try and push forward. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's it. So
Give it a go. Yes, it's certainly a more comfortable place to live in. It really
yeah.
is. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome, and thank you for your question. Lovely. So, um, who else has got something they'd like to? Larissa?
Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
I would say that, can you hear me well? Because sometimes I cannot project my voice so well.
It's
This
okay.
is one part of my issue that I think is a little bit the opposite of what Angela is experiencing. Um, in terms that I know that I can offer good things to the people, to my clients, but I'm struggling to have clients. So it's kind of the opposite. This energy that I am broadcasting at the moment. It was not like that before. And I think it has to do with this, with my voice and with being seen. And also because I am in a different environment. Like I live in Germany, but I am Brazilian, so I feel the pressure of the culture, of the language here that is not my best way of expression. And I come from a point that my life was mostly trauma, and I was diagnosed with CPTSD, and I had to quit everything that I was doing in 2022.
Okay.
I stayed like 2 years um, only taking care of my health, and yeah, avoiding to have contact with people and clients and anything else because I didn't feel I can do this. I
Mm.
I was really I have to take care of myself because I was into pieces and this was necessary and I never regretted this decision. But then at the end of 2024, I started to rebuild my career and to place myself in where I live, not only online.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a very slow process, but I would like you to shed some light in the physical aspects also of the body, how I manifest this in my body. It comes like in the fascia. I have in my legs like lay a very soft, but also like a layer of fascia that is more dense and more, you know, that you cannot really define what this is. Like it's spongy and it's kind of a self-protection, of course, I believe. Yeah, and there's also this issue with my voice that even when I think I'm talking loud enough that other people can listen to me, but sometimes people ask me, "What?" Because I detect that are maybe too, yeah, not so loud enough. Yeah, I think this
Okay.
is
And
what I'm
what,
experiencing now.
sorry, what's really interesting as well is you're talking about this um this aspect of your voice and your video keeps freezing for me. So how interesting is that really? Because maybe that's a reflection of how things feel like you know, being frozen or being quieter, even though in your mind, your mind and everything, the voice is coming out. So tell me a bit more about this, the voice issue. Is it something that has been around for a long time, or is it
Yes,
new?
my whole life, like since I know myself, I speak like this, and people is always asking me, "Can you repeat, please, or could you speak a little bit louder?" Yeah, it.
Okay. And what happens inside of you when you hear that?
I feel like um, when I try to enhance yeah, speak louder, then I feel like maybe it's too aggressive, or maybe I'm speaking too loud. When I try to raise my voice, I think maybe I'm speaking too loud.
And that idea of raising your voice, and you said aggressive, is that a familiar experience for you in your life? People raising their voices?
Yes.
Okay. So let's just look at what that has mirrored in you. If your experience is people shouting, aggression, yeah, okay. And I can tell this is touching something deep for you. Then of course at some level your younger self or a younger part of you has said, I do not want to do that to other people. And loud voices are bad. And we must avoid that at all costs. And people often have that experience with anger as well. If experienced anger as a child, then anger is an emotion that is not allowed to be present. So sometimes that also can be part of the picture. Yeah. So there's a part of you there that's still feeling that wound. And it's never about your voice. It's all about that energy and all the energy you're giving that's being transmitted from you as well. So um, the wound keeps repeating, or you keep hearing the same phrases, But there's the conflict there of wanting to be heard, but also the fear of um, coming across wrong, or not being received. Did you also find as a child or growing up that your voice wasn't able to be heard, or as in you couldn't express your voice as a child? Yeah.
Definitely, because I was raised, I have two brothers. One is younger than me, and the other one is older than me. And it was like my oldest brother was always the best child, and my youngest brother he had the issue when he was very young, 2 years old or so, and he was always super protected. And then I gave a step backwards. So I don't want to annoy my parents. I
Mm.
have to shut down. I have to hide because they are having trouble, like with this younger here, and they are giving attention to this older here. And then I kind of became really invisible, and I didn't want to, uh, how do you say, yeah, to be like a problem for
Yeah.
my mother, because she was like all over the place as well, and she was um, having problems with my father.
Yeah.
She had to work too much, and sometimes we had to have a babysitter, um, because she could not be totally present to us.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Well, first of all, let's just acknowledge, that experience and that you were a sensitive child and sensitive to everybody else's needs. And there's a similarity there with uh, with the earlier question, actually, in terms of shutting yourself down away to be, or that authentic voice. To be able to survive, it's what you needed to do. But now you're in a space where actually you want that authenticity and that voice to come through. Um, and you're ready to be heard. But the same thing applies here, really, in as much as the pushing doesn't help because the wound is still there. So there's still a part of you transmitting, I I want to be really careful about how I come across. I want to be really, I want to come across like this, but I don't want to come across like this. And because that is so difficult to know, there's a part of you that's going, well, I don't know whether I should speak or whether I should stay quiet, and I don't know quite how to come across. That energy goes outwards in an unconscious, obviously unspoken way. And then you come up against that where people are saying, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, and and it just aggravates the wounded part there that didn't that had to keep quiet. Does that make sense to you. So that part of you has this belief that she has to be so careful about what she says and in the way she says it, that it's quite overwhelming to try and control that voice. There's quite an exhaustion to controlling your voice to that level. And now part of you, there's this big pull towards being this person that is heard. But the other part of you that's holding you back, that small part there that had to be so careful, and that she's protecting you in that respect. Does that make sense? She's protecting you, saying, just be careful about what you say and how loud you come across, and just in case it might come across like this. Um, so a bit like Angela, this is about softening, being aware of when that part of you is active and protective. Not necessarily trying to speak louder. Yeah, I think it's more about the confidence and the clarity that that authentic voice is coming through. How's that landing with you?
Yeah, you mentioned confidence, and I think this is really related to self-confidence. I
Yeah,
spent my childhood and part of my adult life trying to, yeah, to be the good girl. This good girl syndrome,
yeah,
and trying to be there for my mother because she was really not totally capable of, yeah.
yeah. And that poor that little girl, we can bring compassion to her. She had to be so guarded, so careful. She had to tread so carefully in that house.
As you mentioned, it's really hard, this
Mm.
part that you have to sit with yourself and really, because I'm always pushing myself to, yeah.
And that's the same issue. Like the pushing is just like forcing. You imagine you as a little girl and forcing you to say exactly what you thought. It would have been so impossible because, you would have been so active thinking, oh, what do they want to hear? I don't know what to say. And so all those filters, those gates are still in place, but they're moving in the right direction. You're here. We're talking about it right now. You're speaking clearly. We can hear what you're saying. So how amazing is that you're actually moving in the right direction, as in you're able to be authentic here in this meeting that we're at now in front of other people. And
Yeah,
so she's there, there's the new version of you coming through, and she just needs a bit of time and
yeah,
compassion for that part of you that is probably is activated, and maybe you just need to sit with that discomfort sometimes. And as I said to Angela, there's a bit of reparenting there. It's okay. I hear you. I'm so sorry you couldn't speak.
yeah. At the same, is a very huge conflict between these two parts because the other part says like, "Oh, you see, this poor girl. I don't want to be this poor girl," you know?
And you're not, and you're not, but there's a part of you that that she um even though things happened in the past, they're still quite active right now. So there is still some compassion because that there is no time with our fractured parts of us. So there's no time concept. She's still there right now in this moment and pulling you back in certain situations, probably, or just trying to protect you, just trying to get you to think carefully what you say in here, as opposed to just letting your heart speak right through you, without the filter. So it's not a negative that there is part of you there. That's where we have to bring compassion, because otherwise you're just being really horrible to that part of you. Do you see what I mean? It's like you're just sending, I don't want you. I don't want you. I want you to leave. Can you imagine doing that to that little girl? So instead we're inviting her in and we're saying, I'm so sorry. And there's there's a process to working with this. So if anyone ever wants an RCP session to work with this, there's you can go onto my website and look at the practitioners, certified practitioners we have there, or you can be a volunteer and work with somebody for free. Just this conversation isn't necessarily going to shift this, but it's bringing awareness. So I would suggest and invite you to notice those parts of you, that voice that says, I don't want to be like this. I want to be different. And just notice that, because that's a rejection sort of a voice and a judgment. It's more like welcoming in all these parts of you. Um, yeah, and just bringing that compassion and that softness. Just spending 5 minutes a day going, just sitting with yourself, even. And that's, it's hard. Um, but it's really worthwhile, and it's very healing. And yes, so there's still quite a lot of protection going on for you, which makes sense when you mentioned your legs as well, and the skin and the fascia. So
Yeah, it's like I like push it down everything, like my voice cannot come,
yeah,
everything's like heavy on my legs. And yeah,
maybe yeah. So there's lots of ways to work with that, like with singing, for example, or something that allows this voice to come through more and more. Is that helpful?
yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Larissa. Um, so Lorraine or Elna, do you want to ask anything, Lorraine?
I'd love to if you've got time.
Yeah, of course.
It could be quite a quick one.
Okay.
So yeah, I have and I've had for like a decade or more, like bladder and waterworks issues.
Yeah.
So it feels like a UTI, but it's not a UTI. Yeah, so since last that I had to give up my job, which was a different
Okay.
I changed careers kind of thing and went into something different, which didn't work out. So I actually had to leave because it turned out to be quite physical.
Right.
So yeah, last May, so I've just been back and forth from the doctors and blah 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 and hospital, but in the NHS, waiting lists, everything
Okay.
takes forever, doesn't it?
It
They really
does.
want to put me on neurological kind of gabapentin, opioids kind of thing. They're like, it's nerve damage, because I've had previously loads of surgery. And I'm
Mm.
like, I just don't want to, I'm really reluctant. So I'm still waiting, having a investigation coming up. But yeah, but then I'm like constantly, thinking, I've worked on loads of stuff and worked on my body and worked on healing and all this thing. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so I can't still be pissed off, which I, as before, I'm literally pissed off.
Yes.
I've worked through so much, but here we are.
So what's the experience like for you on a day to day?
Bloody miserable. And I hate saying that and having to say that. But yeah, it's exhausting. And I'm like constantly having to second guess when I can do things and stuff. So yeah, it is day to day, like pain, discomfort, have to adapt
Yeah.
what I'm eating, drinking, but it largely doesn't make any difference. So
S- So is it true that you can't still be pissed off?
God. Oh dear me. Is it true I can't still be pissed off? Well, no, it's not true. But I feel like I've, dealt with a lot of things and stuff.
Well, that's why I'm asking because the thing is there is that sort of feeling, isn't there? It's like, oh, why me and why is this still an issue here? And it sounds like this sounds like this has been going on for years then.
I'm
O-
guessing it would be post children, I think.
Okay. Okay. And so there's pain most days.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That's
every
yeah.
day.
That I mean that is really hard to live with, of course. Um, and I don't know, on a daily basis. So what does that all feel like inside of you? You know, what are the thoughts? What are the emotions that are there?
Um, Heavy, exhausting, frustrating, strangling. This word just popping into my head.
Yeah, yeah. And what are the other aspects of your life like?
I guess like quite quiet at the minute now. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, and I suppose I'm like kind of I just recently got, obviously I have to work, and so I'm kind of like panicking about that. But I was changing, wishing to go into this healing world, or different holistic stuff.
Yeah.
Um Started being a massage therapist, but
Okay.
I've yet to do one exam to do that. But actually that's too physical.
Okay.
So lots of little things, and they're all leading nowhere, and I'm wondering, are they leading nowhere because I'm...
Well, everything there that you've said, it sounds very frustrating. It sounds like you're coming up against that frustration. And I'm wondering what the patterns are for you. So there you are, you've got one more exam to do and you can't it's too physical in as much it has an impact on your bladder when you're doing it, yeah.
Yeah.
And does that feel like a pattern to you? Like you get so far and then you have to go back, or you don't
Yeah.
quite get to the end of something, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Bit like Angela, and not like you, Angela, but saying that thing, like I've had, yeah, and then like big, massive medical, whipped into hospital, emergency surgeries and stuff. So
yeah,
like, yeah, I've like open as a book, so I've unfurled lots of things. I mean, now I'm open like a book. I wasn't before.
yeah,
Trying to, see and work out this like conflict or whatever.
yeah. So you've become in this whole process, or you've become more open to your vulnerability, would you say?
Absolutely. Looked
Yeah,
at my dark side, looked at my shadows, very aware of them, can hold them, but I don't actively do all that stuff anymore. So I don't know whether I
Yeah.
need to go back doing all that.
And how amazing is it that you chose to be a massage therapist out of all the holistic things you could have done? I'm just thinking that it's quite, so was that sort of a challenge for you? Was everything okay when you first started the training? Tell me about that.
I suppose just because I always know, like, I don't know, people. I just love people. I love all of this world. I love all that stuff. And
Yeah,
then I had children. I'd worked in an office forever. And loved those people I worked for, and we worked for adult social care, so that was fine, and a little cog in a big wheel.
yeah,
And then I had children, and that was, brought all of that. And then I separated
right.
and had to move, and all of that brought, a big
Yeah.
grenade. So yeah, I know, like, I don't want to be going on my whole life doing tippy tappy and stuff, but then maybe I should just be tippy tappying and enjoy the others as sidelines. But I don't know.
So there's a desire, so there's the desire in you to do something holistic, to become a practitioner of some kind.
Hmm.
Um, but the but the but the bit that you chose is physically an issue for you.
Yeah, well, I didn't really know that at the time, but because I've
No.
had loads of previous abdominal surgery, so it was kind of,
Okay.
again, I kept my mouth shut. I would do things. I did all my practicing. I did the, people to get me through the physical, practical exam. But I
Yeah.
would be absolutely in bits with like the internal scar tissue and stuff,
Yeah.
like the pain. But I just, for like a decade
Yeah.
or a couple of decades, I just carry on and no one knew a thing. And now I'm like,
Oh, I
I'm
see.
done with this. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So now you're open to talk about that. All those internal scars everyone knows about. That's
mm,
well, I mean that just in a way of like, yeah, you're more open, and it's interesting, isn't it, that you held all of that for so long, and I suppose what the thing that I come to when I'm hearing you is that there may be something still there in terms of that pain and how you work with that pain. But when there's a lot of scar tissue, it's really difficult, isn't it? I mean, just because we have this human experience doesn't mean that we don't experience pain.
mm,
The challenge is becoming okay with what's happening in your body. And we can try and find some meaning there. There may be lots of layers that would actually require, more than what we can do here. But the hardest thing for all of us is being okay with what we're experiencing right now. And that's really deep inner work because all the time we're going, I don't want this. We're just creating more fight.
mm.
How does that feel when I'm saying that?
Yeah. It kind of makes my mind just go like that, as, like I've been a rabbit running around everywhere. Because, some things you want to do, the Christmas and the, you know, taking, my kids out to all the bits and bobs that stuff we have to do. But yeah.
I often find though that when there's persistent things, and I have literally had to be forced into this place as well through, from a physical perspective, that the only way is in, as in the only way to get out is to go in, if you like, and
Mm.
really spend time with working with your mind about being okay with what's going on right now. Because we could look at meaning and we could look at emotions and we could look at anger, and pain is often a very strong indicator that there's anger or frustration there. But we also have to just still be okay with what's happening. And I don't know if you've done much, more work on this, but I don't know if you've ever noticed whether there's a link between the thoughts that you're having and the levels of pain that you experience.
I think
No,
I've looked at all of that before, but I'm
okay.
not sure but I could do it again.
It's it's an invitation.
Mm.
It's, how are you with sitting in stillness and sitting and doing that sort of inward journey?
I'd absolutely be up for it. I've done lots of it, but I'm not doing so much anymore. Maybe I think I've done all the, dark night of the soul over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, yes.
And
And
how many
I
times have I do this? But, possibly another. And I don't mean it's all dark night of the soul, like, maybe just sitting in that compassionate place that you say.
exactly, because right now is you've only got yourself to deal with, and you're working with pain in your body and the frustration of not being able to do the things that you want to do and not being able to step into the life that you'd plan to have or want to have. And there's only one way when that happens, because you're seeking out other physical ways of working with that. You've done all of that work, and when you're still there in the same place, there's only really that way that's like looking inside. And that's the hardest. That's the hardest work. And I do believe there's a reason for everything. I mean, I do realize, I do believe that we're being guided the whole time. And usually what we're being guided to is the very thing that we really don't want to do that much. It's so much easier to, take a supplement or change the diet, or, look at all that sort of that part of the balancing, but it's also what's happening inside in from that perspective. And what is that pain all about? And recognizing that it's there, and speaking to it at a deeper level. There's there's no easy answer in that respect, other than it feels to me like you might be guided in, might being guided in that way or towards that center. But it sounds like, you're at that point where you've gone, well, done everything. Um, and that's where it's hardest to bring compassion in. And that's why I'd really suggest or invite, I don't know if you work with anybody. Do you work with, maybe that's the ultimate thing, is to start working with someone who can help you explore that, because often when we're hyper independent and trying to do everything ourselves, it's almost impossible to do this healing work. And I really believe that because we're tribal creatures, and we are traumatized in community and or in relationship, and we also heal in relationship. And sometimes that's the only way to go. And that's maybe an invitation to you if you're not very good at receiving. Maybe that's the maybe that's the direction.
Yes, very interesting. Thank you.
Well, have a look at our certified practitioners because they are brilliant, I have to say. I know I would say that, but then yeah, it's you may find that work really, really helpful because sometimes it's shifting those beliefs, that
Mm.
balance, giving and receiving balance.
Mm. Thank you. Yeah, I think my strings were just all flurrying everywhere. I just feel now I've got a rein to hold on to. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes
Okay.
sense. Thank
Thanks, Lorraine.
you.
Okay. Um, so is there anything you want to ask Eleanor? As you're the only one who hasn't spoken, but it's your choice. It's all right. I know you're struggling with unmuting.
Have to speak.
I can hear you now, just not see you, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, now I'm gone. Okay, let me just get myself back. Yeah.
Oh, no. I'll cut this bit out. You're all right. It's hard on a phone, I think. Uh,
Shall I speak without my face?
let's just try that. Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say that I always say that we absolutely are there where we need to be and hear what we need to hear because I struggle with my feet. I can't move. I'm absolutely stuck. I've got problems with my kidneys and my bladder. And I'm just also in a very vulnerable state where I'm doing so many changes and things I want to do. And yeah, it's just, I've resonated with absolutely everyone in every little bit of my pieces of where I'm at and my healing and my journey in changing my practice and starting my own practice. And my daughter and I had lunch 2 Fridays ago where she said to me, Mommy, I think there's so many people with imposter syndrome. It's just not you. I have 3 friends that's also struggling with that. And yeah, I think that is my biggest issue at the moment. I just cannot see my worth and my value and what I do, and that it's actually um, giving value to anybody. So I'm struggling a bit with my own feelings and thoughts, and I know I'm good enough. I've been doing this since 2001, and everybody has said to me, Alna, you need to start practicing because your value that you give is just so deep, and I'm emotionally so connected with where I've been and where my healing path that I can resonate and have so much compassion and empathy. So yeah, that's me.
Oh, well, well, it sounds like you were in the perfect place for this session and these discussions then, most definitely. And I just want to end really by saying we can know something cognitively, but deep down there can be a belief system that is in the unconscious that is really holding us back, which is what we've really talked about today. And we have this habit of punishing ourselves quite often and going, oh, why can't I just do this? Because, other people seem to manage it and yet I can't seem to do it. Or, like you said, that imposter syndrome, or something comes up, that holds us back and literally stops us moving forward. And I think there's a lot of information out there that is, you are worth it, and let's go forward and let's move on, and goal directed and goal driven. But we can't drag ourselves there. It's almost like you have to go right in and start right at that foundation, at that where you started as well, and all the patterns that were imprinted and absorbed by us when we were so small, that have to be unwoven from that deep place. And see, there isn't a quick fix in all of that. It is a process. I think it's a life process. It's a life process of understanding who we are from when we were first programmed right at the beginning, and then we have to undo all of that as we get older, and recognize this amazing energy that is in all of us. So it is that process, and it does take time, and we can't always do it in isolation. We often need to hear the right words from another person. We need someone to witness that vulnerability in order for that to be integrated into who we become. So just to end really with, I had all these issues when I first started and went online. From being an acupuncturist to going online just nearly broke me. So I ended up in hospital. That's why I ended up with, I had autoimmune issues, and then I ended up in hospital with type 1 diabetes. So my autoimmune system had gone haywire. And I still have diabetes. So I have I'm still working with that, even though I have that sort of, no, I will definitely heal myself. And but you can't do it with force. That's the thing. And actually I can look back and go, well, I have learned so much from that whole experience. But it's easy with hindsight, of course. But each step has been a process. So I understood that stress came from the pushing. I had to learn not to push. It took me another 2 or 3 years to be able to get into a place of more acceptance. So acceptance is a gradual thing. Michael Singer, Surrender Experiment. Don't know if any of you read that. That was a good one for me to read. Learning to surrender, which is learning to accept. Learning to depersonalize things, learning to look at things as information as opposed to being personal, learning to become aware of my own reactions and my own thought process, and recognizing how my thoughts affected my body. So these are all things that I learned and am still learning, understanding where those thoughts come from and how they come in, just fill your head with all sorts of negativity, which creates fear, stress. So learning to depersonalize, learning to detach, learning to observe it without reacting is the process here that I'm talking about. So we come up against these massive challenges, and in overcoming and working through them, we become more whole. We start to learn who we are a lot more. We go deeper. And that's the essence of everything that I do online, which is just a reflection of what's happened with me. So you're all on the path. You're all in this process of change. And you're all on that edge as well, all of you standing on that edge going, oh, okay, there's the new version of me over there. I'm nearly there. But you are all there. You know, you're here, you're talking about everything. There's such growth in that. So anyway, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for these conversations. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for holding space for us.
You're so welcome. Take care, everybody.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Bye.